All right, today we're going to talk about something that could totally change the game for every single developer out there. I mean, we're not just talking about writing code a little bit faster. We're talking about a fundamental shift in how we build software. And it's all thanks to a new platform from Google called Antigravity.
So think about it. For years now, we've had AI tools like GitHub Copilot, right? And they're amazing. They're like these super smart typewriters that finish our sentences and get rid of all that tedious boilerplate code. But the basic way we work hasn't really changed. It's still us, a human developer, typing, thinking, debugging, line by painful line. So the big question is, what's next? Is this as good as it gets?
Well, what's next is a massive shift in how we even think about AI's role in coding. We're moving from what you could call Gen 1 AI, where it's all about speed, to Gen 2 AI, where it's all about orchestration. It's the difference between being a really, really fast typist and being a mission controller, directing a whole team of AI agents to actually build things for you. Huge difference.
And this new way of thinking, this new approach, Google is calling it the agentic era. And their big play, their entry into this new world, is a platform they very cleverly named Antigravity. The whole idea is to let developers like you and me operate at a much higher level, focusing on tasks, not just lines of code.
Okay, so what in the world is an agentic development platform? It sounds like a buzzword, I know, but the keyword here is agentic. It just means the AI acts like an autonomous agent. It's a whole environment where you stop asking the AI to, write this function for me. Instead, you delegate an entire task. Just imagine saying, hey, implement a new user authentication flow with OAuth 2.0, and it just goes and does it. It plans everything, writes the code, uses the tools it needs, the whole shebang.
Okay, that sounds amazing in theory, right? But how does it actually work? Like, what does your day-to-day look like when you go from being a coder to a mission controller?
So the whole workflow is built around this simple three-step loop: plan, review, and execute. Instead of just diving in and writing code, the AI agent first comes up with a blueprint, a really structured plan. Then you get to review it, almost like a Google Doc. You can add comments, make suggestions, and once you give it the thumbs up, then and only then does the agent start writing code, running tests, and actually doing the work. It completely changes your role. You become the architect, not just the person laying the bricks.
And you manage all of this through two different views. First, you've got the good old editor view. It's familiar, it's hands-on, for those times you really want to get into the nitty-gritty and write some code yourself. But then, there's the new manager surface. Think of this as your command center. It's a dashboard where you can kick off multiple AI agents, have them work on different tasks in the background, and just watch them go, all at the same time.
Now, the big question is trust, right? How can you possibly trust these AI agents to work on their own without you having to micromanage every little thing? Well, that's where something called artifacts comes in. This is super clever. Instead of making you read through pages and pages of logs, the agent gives you actual, tangible proof of what it's doing. We're talking screenshots, checklists, even little recordings of it using a browser. It lets you verify what's happening and check its progress in seconds.
So, you're probably wondering what kind of engine is powering all of this agentic magic. Well, under the hood, it's all running on Google's latest and greatest AI model, Gemini 3.
And here's what makes Gemini 3 so different. See, most large language models are really, really good at one thing: predicting the next word in a sentence. They're amazing autocomplete machines. But Gemini 3 was built for something else. It's optimized for reasoning. It's designed from the ground up to take a big, messy problem, break it down into logical, chewable steps, and then actually execute on those steps. And that is the exact skill an AI agent needs to be useful.
And you can actually see this in the numbers. On benchmarks like Terminal Bench 2.0, it really shines. Now, this isn't your typical did it complete the code test. No, this benchmark tests an AI's ability to actually perform complex tasks, use developer tools, and navigate a system all from the command line. The fact that Gemini 3 Pro is ahead here shows that it's just plain better at doing stuff, not just writing about it.
So it's really no surprise that some of the big players in the industry are taking notice. Get this. GitHub reported that in their early tests, Gemini 3 Pro was 35% more accurate at solving real software engineering problems than the previous version, Gemini 2.5 Pro. 35%. That's not a small jump. That is a massive leap forward.
Okay, so the promise is absolutely huge, right? A whole new era of development. But you know how it is. We have to bring things back down to earth and look at the practical side of things. Because even with a cool name like Antigravity, the gravity of the real world, well, it still has a pretty strong pull.
And this new approach puts Antigravity on a collision course with the undisputed king of code editors, VS Code. Their whole philosophy is just different. Antigravity is all about the agent, delegating tasks. VS Code is all about the text, making you, the human, faster and more efficient. And you can feel this difference in performance too. Early reports are saying Antigravity is pretty heavy, a bit of a resource hog compared to the lean, mean, highly optimized VS Code.
But here's the real kicker. Antigravity is actually a fork of VS Code's open source code. And because of that, it's completely locked out of the official Microsoft extension marketplace. That means all those essential proprietary extensions, things like the C# dev kit or the super fast Pylance for Python, they just don't work. For any team that's heavily invested in the .NET or Azure ecosystem, that's pretty much a deal breaker.
And it's not just the ecosystem. There are some other real-world trade-offs to think about. We already mentioned performance. Early users are talking about high RAM usage, a laggy UI. But then there's security. I mean, you're giving an AI agent direct access to your computer's command line. You have to think about that. An agent that's, let's say, aggressively goal-oriented might try to solve a simple permission error in a way you really didn't intend.
So, after all that, where do we land? Is Google Antigravity a true game changer, or is it just a cool niche tool? Well, the answer, like with most things in tech, is it really depends on what you're trying to do.
If you're starting a brand new project from scratch, what we call a greenfield project, then oh yeah, Antigravity could be an absolute force multiplier. The speed you could prototype and iterate would be insane. But if your job is maintaining a massive, complex, legacy enterprise application, especially one that lives in the Microsoft world, the friction, the ecosystem problems, the security risks, for now, they probably outweigh the benefits.
Look, at the end of the day, Antigravity is a really fascinating peek into what the future of our jobs might look like. It hints at a world where your most valuable skill isn't writing perfect, elegant code syntax anymore. Instead, it might be your ability to design smart systems and effectively manage a team of AI agents. And that forces all of us to ask a really important question about our careers. As this future gets closer, are you going to be a coder or are you going to be a controller?